Professor Gulshan Sachdeva from Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi has been telling me that the timing of Modi's European visit is significant.
Now, there is a very solid bilateral agenda in Germany and also with the Nordics. And there is a new coalition government in Germany, and the French president has been recently re-elected. But the visit is also taking place at a time when the war is going on, and most of the European leaders are really busy in terms of sanctions, energy diversification, and helping Ukrainians. So I think since Indian perceptions about Ukraine war are somewhat different than Europeans, so I think Prime Minister Modi would be focusing more on bilateral agenda in terms of trade, investment, technology, green energy transition. And recently, India and European Union has also agreed to relaunch, negotiations for trade agreements, which would be, I think, starting next month.
So you say India has perhaps a different perception of what's going on in Ukraine than European nations. How difficult is it for India to navigate between its relations with Russia and Europe after the invasion of Ukraine?
Well, I think in the last 2-3 months have been very difficult for India because India has very close strategic partnership with the Europeans and also with Russia. And, initially, I think as many of the Europeans were a bit disappointed because they thought being a close strategic partner of Western countries, India would be aligning with them. And as a result, there was many visitors, from Europe, many of the leaders, foreign ministers and other, leaders from the European institutions, they came and visited India. But I think now, after a couple of weeks, with all the interactions with the European leaders, I think India has been able to perhaps convince, most of the Europeans that, yes, there is a different perception because there are certain dependencies on Russia, particularly in the defense matters. But despite being that we are not supporting war, we are for diplomatic dialogue to resolve this issue. But we can, keep working on our bilateral agenda.
Why is it, do you think, that good relations with India are such a priority for Europe?
There have been, the old traditional ties with Europe. The core of this relationship has always been more or less economics. But in the last 20-25 years, I think, the visions of Europe about democratic world, multipolar world, and multicultural world had somehow coincided with India. Economically, of course, they have come together. But now in the last few years, I think strategically also India and Europe have come together, mainly because of India's closeness to the United States and also in the geopolitical situation which has emerged in the Indo-Pacific region, because both of them have also somehow now, worried about assertive China. So all these issues are bringing them together. And of course, huge Indian market and, fastly growing Indian economy is also a big attraction for Europeans.